All right, let's go and get this started. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. That's the right scene. A little too early to be messing up on OBS right now. I don't know why Nick Ricada was showing up there. We're not talking about him tonight. We're not talking about how he's a cuck. That's great news, though. That's good stuff. That's a lot of fun. Don't you love the irony of that? I love irony, dude. Irony is like the thing, man. Okay, people go chasing after Kino. I chase after irony. That's what gets me going. I love it when people who made a whole freaking, essentially a career, built a whole platform on laughing at cucks, was exposed to himself being a cuck. And by the Black Bull, that is his best friend. It's delicious. It is delicious. It's like a vanilla shake. It's like a vanilla malt. It's delicious. It's great. It's like an ice cold diet Coca-Cola from McDonald's. It's delicious. It's great. You love it. It's like an ice cold beer after mowing the yard. Good stuff. Good stuff. But we're not here to talk about that. We are talking about Ben Thorp, Boomber Dad. I tell you a story, and this is a true story. I hope you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving if you celebrate that. Mine was a little weird. I had to balance things, balance family life with hunting for the truth. I am Mr. Deadman, as you all know. I am just a simple, humble man that earns money by making coffee for rich people, and then I stream, I do videos and things like that. In my spare time, I do hang out in Discord sometimes, and I do like to investigate things that no one should investigate. I have a habit of becoming fixated on secrets to hopefully expose the truth. One secret in particular is whatever happened to the restaurant, the Ethiopian restaurant that Boomber Dad ran, Ben Thorp ran. Abyssinia. The name of it. It's like, what is that? I don't speak Ethiopian. Look at this. Let's put it on the screen here. This. Abyssinia. I call it Abyssinia. Or the Abyss. We're going to call it the Abyss. It probably was an abyss. From everything I've gathered so far. Oh, yeah, it was an abyss, all right. And it was definitely very abysmal to work there. And that's what we're talking about. Just so happens, I was able to talk to an Ethiopian that knew someone that worked there. Did Ben Thorp impregnate a 16-year-old Ethiopian girl? We're going to talk about that. There's some shady stuff going on there. We're going to talk about it here. In case you don't know, Boomber Dad is this guy. That's Boomber Dad. That's Mr. Ben Thorp. Boomber Dad. And this is his shitty Ethiopian restaurant that he ran. Okay? That's what the story is about. I'm looking for the truth as to what happened there. Boomber Dad has a deep-seated anger towards Ethiopians. Boomber Dad has expressed pure hatred towards Ethiopians. And I was curious as to the connection of this restaurant, the failing of it, and Boomber Dad outright essentially wanting, or at least wanting to see the genocide of a whole Ethiopian community. That's not even hyperbolic. That's exactly, I wasn't even close to what he said anyway. I thought it was going to be something simple. Shortly after, sometime around the Pico stream, I received a, we can get this crap off the screen here. I received a text message. I received a weird text message from an unknown number. And let me back up a little bit there. When I received this message, obviously, like you would, if you ever receive those unsolicited text messages, which you probably do, you ignore them, right? You ignore them. I disregarded it as anyone would in their right mind. After all, it's an unrecognized number, and the content was very vague. The content just said, call me with a strange number. I'm like, look, I'm done with the side hoe days. Okay, I almost lost everything with the side hoe days. I'm done with that stuff. Call me. Okay. So like I said, I received that sometime after the Pico stream. I ignored it and went about my business. But then, the next day, I received another message. The same message. Call me. Okay. Well, someone really wants me to call them. I ignored it again. And then I went out to a client's home. I do make coffees for rich people. I go out to rich areas of where I live, and I make some really, really good coffee, delivering some of the best beans you can get your hands on, okay? So, on my route to this rich person's house, my phone was buzzing. It was like Ben Thorp's vibrator up his ass, buzzing. I was like, okay, I gotta take care of this. What is going on here? It is a flood of text messages. Okay, the same thing. Call me. Whoever this person is was spamming my freaking phone. Okay, so I was like, okay, fine. I called him. I called the freaking number, and someone answered. I was surprised. Someone answered the call. I heard some faint music that I can only describe as foreign and primitive. So I guess Ethiopian. And then there was a man's voice in my ear. The voice was thick with a foreign tongue. I guess Ethiopian sounding. I don't know. I mean, I could tell it was Ethiopian or drunk or what. It was, but he said Pico man. I was like, oh, okay. What is this? I didn't know what to say. What do you say, chat? What do you say? You pick up the phone, you hear some shitty rap. It's not really reggae. You don't know what it is, but you know it's like sand nigger stuff. Okay, you're like, oh, okay. I don't know what's going on here, dude. Okay, not my jam. Okay, and then he says Pico man. Okay? Yeah. I was speechless. It was one of those moments where I didn't have to say anything, chat. I didn't have to say anything at all. The guy continued on and was like, okay. He followed with a question. Do you want to know the truth about Ben? Of course, he didn't say it that way. The way I said it makes it sound so easy to hear, easy to understand, right? Very clear, spoken well. Do you want to know the truth about Ben? No, I had to figure that out. I actually asked him, could you repeat that? I asked him twice. Could you repeat that? I think he was trying to be cool about it, but it's like, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't speak Ethiopian, whatever. After that, I said yes. And I was about to ask a question, but then it was cut off by heavy laughter. I was like, okay, this guy is a bit, is a joke. Is like, am I being trolled here? Is Rizza from Discord messing with me here? Like, what's going on? Okay. The call was disconnected. I tried to call back. All right. But the call was instantly ended. You know, you call it back and it goes, another person cancel it. And you know what I'm talking about. And it's like, it doesn't go to voicemail. It just instantly dropped. It's okay. This guy does not want me to call him. I presume it's the same guy, right? Now, I've received a text message, and this was so freaking weird. Coordinates, and I'll show you what I received. Okay. I didn't know what this was. I did not know what this was. Or I received that. What is that? I was like, okay, well, I guess coordinates or something. At midnight. Thanksgiving. Okay. I could do that. I suppose. I mean, how am I supposed to make that work? How am I supposed to make that work? I mean, it took me a while. I'm not going to say quickly dawn on me, but it took me a while to figure it out. But it did dawn on me that these were numbers. These numbers were, well, yeah, of course they're numbers. But the numbers were coordinates, and I plugged them into Google, and it takes you to Surfside. You can do it yourself. Plug those numbers in Google. You go to Surfside Beach. Surfside Beach is a beach in Freeport, Texas, which is a little bit south from Galveston Island. Freeport, Texas is what I like to call meth port. Okay, I do make coffees for rich people, and that is all I do, nothing else. But I just so happen to know that Freeport is meth port, and I do a lot of traveling. Okay, now it actually pinpoints to a beach access road that is near a beach house that appears to be kind of neglected. I guess no one really rents it out. Or maybe there's a sign to rent, but I guess no one gets that house. I found out why. At least I think I did anyway. A lot of this, I'm still trying to figure out. A lot of this is still new to me. I got to tell you something. I learned real fast. It's not Ben Thorp I should fear. He can go to the police all he wants. It's not even the police I should fear. It's the Ethiopians. If I mess up, they could kill me. Okay? You understand that? Because the stuff we're talking about here tonight are actual crimes. Legit crimes that Ben Thorp might have done. Boomer Dad might have done these crimes. Or maybe they're just messing with me. Maybe this is just one giant elaborate troll. I don't know. But the man that I exchanged no more than one word with, well, I was several. I mean, I was asking him, can you repeat that? Can you repeat that question again? Wanted me to meet him or someone, I presume, at the beach house or on the Surfside Beach, midnight on Thanksgiving. It was pretty bizarre, right? Very bizarre. Would you do that, chat? Would you meet up with some random stranger? And you saw that short. I was there at the beach. I was joking around. That's not really what they speak. They speak something else. I can't really describe it to you, okay? But that little smart ass thing. Quickly after that, I turned that off and I got real serious. Oh. Bug. See? Shit. Man. Okay, so I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to do. I need to check out this place. I need to check it out Thanksgiving. So I managed to convince my wife and my family, hey, we're going to get a beach house. Let's get a beach house. Let's do that thing. And it's cheaper to get a beach house now. It'll be, because who gets a beach house in November, right? Well, I'll meet there. It's nice. My mom likes the water. My mom likes the beach. My wife does too. It'll be great. It'll be fun. Okay. So that happened. That was great. It was good stuff. That actually worked out well. I needed to find a way I need to make this happen to where I was going to meet up with this guy. Okay. It's kind of weird to make all these arrangements to meet a stranger you've never met before, which would be a stranger at midnight at a very weird location, a location you've never been to before. It's almost as if I am being set up to be mugged, to be executed, to be raped or something. Okay? Like, it's pretty bad. But we did that. So yeah, we're into the beach house. Everything went well there. Extended family was over. Everyone had a good time. I figured once everyone gets all liquored up a bit, they can crash. The kids would already be asleep. And after sipping a rum and coke a bit, the adults would be asleep as well. And then I could just sneak out. All right. I snuck out. Being the only one up, I went out to the back patio, smoked a cigar, recorded a few shorts, which are the ones you saw, laughing at Boomer Dad's failure as a husband and father, which is hilarious stuff. We're talking about a guy, Ben Thorp, Boomer Dad, who will call his separated wife up and ask her why she's not taking out the trash or doing chores or cleaning up the storage stuff. Why? Pretty much talking to her as if he's still her husband. I mean, legally, I guess he is. But it's also like, what are you doing, guy? What are you doing? You just sitting around all day, run your hand through your hair, scratching your balls, hitting on your daughter some more, doing some weird things with your daughter? Weird stuff. Anyway. So yeah, I walked down to the beach. And Surfside at midnight is practically all tide. This area of the beach. So the sand was all wet up to the dunes. There's really hardly anywhere to walk. I was walking in the water, pretty essentially. Okay. All these, just, I make it sound like it was deep. It wasn't deep. It's just, the tide's coming in. That's it. It's just, the sand was wet. That's it. Boom. Okay. It was pretty chilly that day too. Pretty chilly. Really cold. There was that. But I made it to the location. All right. And for a second, I was like, I'm here. It is dark. No one could see me. I could see the lights and it's very few. Because, like I said, who rents a beach house in November? There's very few lights. They're kind of lit up. Okay. They kind of poke out of the black canvas of it all. But I was like, I'm alone. I'm isolated. If something were to happen, no one would know. I kind of fumbled around with my phone and my lighter. It was like, if anything were to happen, no one would know. And when someone does find my body, it'd be like, well, what happened? It looks like he was trying to meet up with a gay hookup, or maybe he killed himself. What happened there? No, who knows? But none of that happened. I was there though, and I heard the laughter. The man that I spoke with on the phone, I recognized the laughter, the heavy laughter. It was kind of, I would describe it as jovial, yet miserable, okay? It's like that taunting laugh, okay? I turn around and I see essentially just white orbs. I'm like, okay, that's a Nigerian. Okay, it's fucking dark out there. What do you expect? Okay, there's white orbs and a row of crooked teeth, okay? I'm not trying to be racist, it just is what it is, okay? And he says something Ethiopian. I don't know what he says. Something like, I guess it's a way to say hello. I don't know. Maybe call me motherfucker. I have no idea. But I did recognize Mr. Pico. He said, Mr. Pico. Big accent. And he asked me, you want to know about Ben Thorp? I told him, yeah. And I call him Boomer Dad now. Can you call him Boomer Dad? He laughed. And he says, yes, Boomer Dad. He told me to come, to approach him. And I followed him as he walked towards the vacant beach house. And I followed him some more as he proceeded under the house and turned the corner. And the house was pretty much neglected, right? It appeared to be that way. And I found myself in a pale glow, seemingly alone with a strange man I've never met before. Man, I presume to be Ethiopian. mean, everything about him was in dark clothes, dark hoodies, dark pants, whatever he was wearing. He stood by a table. On the table, there were some glasses, some whiskey. All right, that's nice. I'm gonna get drunk a little bit. All right, nice. I took the offer. I didn't think I could refuse. I don't think you could refuse that sort of offer. I said, sure, fine. I mean, I'll take one. He poured in a drink. I smelled it. Pretty freaking stiff stuff. Pretty strong. Almost knocked me back. It has to be 100 proof. I don't know what it was, but it was good. Good and potent. Okay. I think the man laughed at that. He found that to be funny. I don't want to appear weak. Okay. So I chugged it and tried to pretend like I can handle it. But he poured me another to test me. And that one I just kind of sipped on a bit. So I was like, yeah. Anyway. So the Boomer Dad, he called me something. He called me... No, not Boomer Dad. We're talking about Boomer Dad. The Ethiopian guy. He called me... Mazungu. Mazungu. You know what Mazungu is? I didn't know what Mazungu is. He said, Boomer Dad is a Mazungu. And you might be one too. I was like, what is a Mazungu? I don't know. It was like... It's like a phrase or slang for a white man. Sort of white man that runs in circles like a fool. I was like, okay, all right. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, tell me. I didn't want to appear offended or anything. I wasn't bothered by it. I was like, just tell me about Boomer Dad. I mean, I want to know about Boomer Dad. Tell me about Ben Thorp. All right. He went on to say that Boomer Dad enslaved his people, hurt them, had even impregnated a young girl. That's what this guy said. Okay. All right. I don't know if it's 100% true or not. That's what he said. The Ethiopian told me. They said that Ethiopians, they came to America through a program. They didn't really describe the details of that. I don't think I could get that from him. He described, I mean, it was not in full detail. I mean, he said that they would bring people over to America with the understanding that they would pay back, kind of like what the coyotes do with the foreigners that come from the Mexican border, from the southern border. They come through with an understanding that they're paying one way or the other. So it's like that. It's like, okay, all right. Really weird, illegal. But didn't speak out, didn't object to that or anything. I just wanted to hear his story. And he said that Ben had employed a number of these Ethiopian refugees. They're not really refugees. I mean, I guess they kind of are. No, they're not. They're trafficked is what they are. He described to me human trafficking. I'm describing to you human trafficking, okay? The man essentially told me the Ethiopians are brought over to America through essentially trafficked over here, and then it can be used as free labor, essentially. Or, well, not free, because they need to be paid, so cheap labor. Okay, all right. Well, Ben had employed them, supposedly, according to this man. And Boomer Dad used this, Ben Thorp used this, as a way to increase his reputation in humanitarian. Now, some of this stuff does line up with some stuff I've read about Ben Thorp. If you look at his restaurant, the Abyssinia, all right, the abysmal Ethiopian restaurant that he had, okay? If you look into that, you'll see that there's an article praising Ben for hiring refugees and all that. So, oh, that's curious. That's a very curious thing. So when this man told me this, I was like, wow, well, that's strange. I think I heard about that. He was praised as being kind of a humanitarian. But let me ask you this, chat. Is it humanitarian to refuse to pay your workers? Is it humanitarian to hold them hostage, to beat them, and even subject them to sick sexual perversions? Now, these are all just alleged, but I mean, if they were true, would that be humanitarian? I don't think so. I asked the man how he knows this, and he told me that he worked for the crew that helped to bring these refugees over to America. He also told me that if, well, I should say, asking that question was a huge mistake on my part. That's the part where this meeting really soured. The man told me if I wanted to learn more, that I would need to meet up with others, other Ethiopians, other members, okay, former members, current members, and that it may cost me. He told me that learning about Ben or Boomer Dad to uncover the secrets, it's not going to come free. It's going to cost blood and sacrifice. This man, the strange man, he grew very serious. He said that he knew that my family was over here, and he asked me if I would be willing to sacrifice someone I love for the truth, because it might be required. I was like, are you threatening me? This sounds like a threat. Like, I thought we were just having a chat. At this point, that the strength of that whiskey didn't freaking matter anymore. All right? I chugged that. I chugged the rest of my drink there. The man raised his glass too. He had a serious face. He kind of stared at me. But I've seen this before. I've done this before. I played poker. I know what this was. He showed a seal out crack. But he laughed, and I was relieved. He left, and I was relieved, man. He told me to have another drink. He poured more whiskey in my glass. Told me to take it easy. And said that, look, man, you will know the truth. You want to know the truth? I will tell you the truth. Or you can go home. I was like, okay, I want the truth. And he asked me, are you sure? It was about this time that small doubt I had whether I could keep this meeting a secret had suddenly exploded within. I felt my world spinning, okay? The pressure building, crushing my sense of reality. I knew I could die. The man laughed again. Told me to relax and that the first story comes free. He said that I'll make it home tonight. But if I were to continue with my search for the truth, then it could cost me. And not to worry about Boomer Dad. Okay? Nothing's going to come from him. It might be a lawsuit or whatever. But okay. Everything's alleged until I get my hands on some real proof. I'm actually kind of afraid of the Ethiopians. I'm not gonna lie there. I'm actually kind of afraid of them. Okay. But the man told me the story of Amara. She was 16 years old when she was brought over to America. 16 years old. Her family had abandoned her. Her mom was a prostitute. Whoring around. Okay. Her dad was a gambler. Walked away. Was running away. Probably from loan sharks. Amara had no real family to speak of. Except for the man I was talking to. Who claimed to be her uncle. And he helped to make the trip possible. The trip to America. I think he sold her into it. And maybe has some regrets about it. I don't know. That part we didn't get into. He did tell me that he talked her into going and made arrangements to make it possible. So I guess he did. I didn't ask for the details as far as what those arrangements are exactly, what they were. But he claims he put up collateral. Oh, okay. Okay. He put up collateral? Okay. I just let that go. I wanted to hear a story. Okay? I wasn't going to grill him on the facts and all that stuff. But he claims that this collateral he put up, he never got back because Amara never sent money back. And her whereabouts are unknown at this point. So maybe that's how it works there. Maybe you put up collateral and you kind of expect you treat them essentially as indentured servants, treat them as cash machines to earn money and send the money back home, where it's worth more. Interesting thing. He also told me that Amara was also, she wasn't pregnant until after she met with Boomer Dad. That would be Ben Thorp. So, what is going on there? Did something happen? She was 16. Did something happen there? He told me, the man did, before Amara ran off into the streets, and sometime before, or sometime after being hired, that Amara would work all day under the table for under the table pay. She was paid like $8 an hour with tips. Boomer Dad would withhold those tips though. The tip money would be taken from her at the end of the shift, and the money dropped to $10 a day instead of $8 an hour. Is $10 a day. Amara tried to complain, but Boomer Dad would take her to the back and beat her with a whip. According to the man, Amara told him that Boomer Dad would play Swing Low Sweet Chariot while beating Amara over and over again with a whip. After which she was forced to sleep in a storage shed out back behind the restaurant. There wasn't a bed or a cot or a piece of carpet on the floor. It was hardwood floor, okay? And it was wet. It wasn't wet because of rain, because there was a leak. No, it was wet and it smelled of urine, as if Ben Thorp would pee on the floor and make Amara sleep on that floor. This is coming from Amara reporting this to the man that I spoke with. So it could just be all gossip. It could just be all weird stuff. Okay? I don't know. The guy could have been messing with me. I don't know. But if this is true, is it humanitarian of Boomer Dad to do this? Is it? The man I spoke with, he claimed that he knew about this because Amara would send him communication back. And when the money stopped coming, by they, he means other members of the Ethiopian mafia, had sent warnings to Ben, had sent warnings to Boomer Dad. And he would make excuses. After the third warning, they sent a direct message. That's when he closed his shop, his little restaurant, and ran. Now, he'd probably say it's about COVID. He'd probably say some other crap. He's probably gonna have a rebuttal for all this. He's probably gonna say it's all smears and all this stuff. I don't know if this is 100% true. Well, what I do know is that I'm not going to stop until I get the truth. Okay? I'm going to find the truth. And I might have a way to get a hold of Amara. I might. Man didn't know where she was exactly. But if I really wanted to find her, he said all I would have to do is tell her story here, live. And we're live right now. This is not pre-recorded. And that she may come to me. Until then, he said someone will reach out to me again. And if I'm serious on this and want to pursue this further, that it's most likely going to cost me blood. It's going to cost me some sort of sacrifice. I'm going to have to sacrifice something. And I won't get to choose what that is. He told me next time, he used that slur, that Mzungu. Next time, Mzungu, don't bring your family. Don't bring your family. So next time I won't. But that is my story of meeting up with the Ethiopians. Ties into the shorts I've done. Obviously, I could not record that, and even if I did, I'm not going to post that. Like they don't play around. You think they care? You think they care about the laws and all that? They don't give a shit. They'd actually murder me with a pick hoe. If I revealed certain details of that conversation, even if I had recorded, if I released that, I'll be dead. I'm sure. But yeah, I just wanted to share that story with you guys with chat. It's risky, but I'm a man that's in the hunt for the truth. So we'll see. I will wait patiently and see if I receive any more contacts from any of these people and see what other stories we could find about other internet mysteries we can uncover relating to Abyssinia. Is the Big Bang Theory big in Ethiopia? I didn't ask that. What? I don't know. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. But probably for the reasons not really intended, okay? They probably just think it's all fucking stupid and just laughing at the stupid fucking white people. Laughing at the stupid Americans doing stupid shit. Though they probably do think that one chick's hot, though. The one hot chick on Big Bang Theory, the one everyone says is hot, I forgot her name. But, I mean, sure, yeah, she's hot, but she's a cum bucket. I mean, if you're contributing to a cum bucket, a cum dumpster at that point. All right. Well, and Big Dad Giga Chat, no, I'm not impounding me in the ass prison. No. I'll tell you what, though. I could say, Mr. Thorp, I got my Pico right here. I want to show you some more. I want to show you the Pico. You know, it's like, come on. Clearly, we'll have some fun with this. I'm feeling like murdering tonight. Who I'm going to murder hard? I'm going to murder real hard. It's going to be Ben Thorp. I'm going to murder him so hard. Murder. I'm going to run him over. I'm going to run him over with my Harley. Gotta run Ben Thorp over with my Harley. Yeah. Better watch it, Ben. You better tell the landlord to not clean up that yard. You better tell your wife to not clean up that yard. You need all those obstacles in the way to stop me, because I'm coming. Might as well put some gravel out there. Make it really hard for me to get close. Put some gravel. Put some like for little obstacles for some fine maneuvering. Oh, that'd be really hard. That'd be real hard. Ah, shit! I can't get him. Fuck! I can't run him over with my Harley. Damn it! I'm gonna get you, Ben. It's not over. I'm gonna get you. The pickup was a joke. The Harley's not though. I'm legit gonna run you over with a Harley. Can you imagine that? Clip that out, send it to him. There's no way he'll take that seriously. It's like, oh my god, he's doing it again. He's gonna run me over with a Harley. Hey, stop. I'm gonna run him over with a Harley Davidson. Tell you what, I'm gonna get on a riding lawnmower. All right, I'm gonna run him over with that. Oh, there's something that Cool Tactics said about Ben glowing in the dark. I finally watched one of Ben Thorp's debates on the Crucible, and I gotta tell you something. That's something we could do on a future stream. Not right now. I mean, we got plenty of time, but I don't want it to get lost behind that story. We have time for this. Do we want to see this? Do you want to see how Ben Thorp glows in the dark? You want to see how Ben Thorp debates? You want to see that? I was on planning for this. Grace could be my co-host if she could take a joke, Big Dad Giga Chad. But you know what? That'd be an interesting dynamic. Yeah, I'll see. I'll give her an offer. She'll probably say no. We'll see. I'll give her an offer she can't refuse. By force. I'll just take her. Or I'll confuse her. I'll look more like her dad. By the way, if you do like AI art of Boomer Dad, let me show you something. If you do AI art, one of those AI art generator things, and you do Boomer Dad incestuous, you get this. Which doesn't look too far off from Ben Thorp. Or this one. Boomer Dad. Boomer Dad. Ben Thorp wishes he could look like that. Okay, that's what he really looks like. He looks like a graying poodle, dude. No. Those dogs, a freaking ugly gray mutt, and they're not mutts. The English Terriers, right? That's what I'm thinking of. They're fucking old. They look all shaggy and stuff. Ugh. That's what he looks like. That's what it looks like there. Thor versus Ralph versus Vickers. Ralph's gonna win, and I'll tell you why. Hey, how well versed are you in the Xander lore? Okay, Xander got a black eye, but not under Ralph's watch. Didn't happen under Ralph's watch. Okay, Thorpe is clearly having some sort of weird and close, creepy relationship with his daughter. They still reference that, so I'm still gonna reference that. Okay, it's like I was surprised they still reference that, but okay. Yeah, I'd say Ralph would win that one. Let me show you something. Let me go get Ben's stream here. It's this one.
Do not submit to the authority of the community.
Of these.
All right. This is been. This is like a 2-hour video. Oh man, we're not gonna get through all this unless I speed it up. Hey, Deadman, new haircut. Looks nice. Thank you. Thank you. Alrighty. Well, we could do this. I'll tell you what. I guess we could do this as a teaser. And if we like this, see how much of a glowy he is, we could do this on a future stream as well. Because honestly, when I was listening to this, I was like, man, like now I get it. Now I really understand why, I guess certain people, like, I guess that kind of orbit the Crucible, why they think Ben Thorp is a plant. Because he comes off that way. Like, he brings up things in this debate that are like baiting. That are like baiting for some sort of weird, glowy answer. There's something that happens in this debate. I don't have the timestamp exactly, okay? Where he's like, where Ben Thorp tries to bait this Rob guy into really going down what the Second Amendment is for. And we all know as Americans what the Second Amendment is for. If you want to speak truthfully, you can't say it on live stream. There's a reason why you have the First and the Second so close, okay? Why they're so essential. And why they're being cucked and people aren't, you can't do anything about it. Like, it was intended to be a reset button. You understand that, right? That right there, that right, bestowed to us, not by the government, but by the fact that we're armed, is a reset button when needed. Because that's how America was formed. We're like, we don't like how things are going. And we know they knew tyranny could happen again. Like it happened now. I mean, things are kind of screwy. Oh, we live in a democracy. I mean, do we? Maybe I guess we do. Get ready to talk about that. But that's what this is for. And Ben was really trying to bait Rob into a really weird answer on that. Okay? In a very glowy way. We'll play this. Let's play it right now.
Comfy.stream, Rob Norm streaming their live.
So I'm playing. We could skip their intro when they.
Right.
Okay, so this starts off. They're doing their little shields. We could skip
now.
That.
I consider myself a full libertarian. This is right in my wheel. It's probably the single.
Not surprised that the guy wearing American flag hat with American flag behind him is a part libertarian a little bit. Okay, not surprised about that at all. Let's move forward a little bit here.
I will start focusing just on government and media. If we want to branch out, that's fine too. I don't matter. I think that we need to distrust these institutions more now than in any time in my life.
I should say that this debate is about, should you trust the government, essentially? Should you trust the government? Should you trust the government? Blindly trust. And Ben Thorp's position is, yeah, trust him. Trust Big Daddy. Trust Big Daddy and do what they say. And don't question anything. Like it's a real cucked answer. It's like he really wants. It's like he's a child. It wants, like, he talks about this mommy energy, daddy energy. It's really projection from Ben. Okay. He talks about it so much. It's so ingrained in him because it's what he's going through. He's going through those mommy issues and daddy issues. And he sees the government as a big daddy that you just have to say yes to everything they do.
Possibly more than any time in the existence of the United States. Now, the other caveat I'll say at the beginning of this, just because I say that we need to have a healthy distrust of these institutions does not mean that every time those institutions or the people in charge of them say something, that they're wrong. For example, if they tell you it's important to lose weight, which actually they're not, they're kind of celebrating people being overweight and stuff. But
yeah, they're celebrating being fat. They call it being positive now. Body positivity. Okay, amazing. Go stuff your throat with more cupcakes and pizza as you're working out.
But if they would say truthful things such as that, I don't say, oh, it's always the opposite of what they're saying. What I am saying when I say distrust is they have lost their credibility by being corrupt and lying so much that we should trust them at face value, or that they as an existence, as an authority figure, merits more trust than any other person. If an authority figure lies to you over and over again, they lose that trust. They could prove it to you, whatever particular situation, by showing you evidence. But we no longer should trust them just because they say something. I'll break down into 5 institutions or 5 situations.
This guy is setting this up. I'm going to let it play because none of this happens. Ben Thorp doesn't go through any of this stuff. He actually derails the whole fucking thing with some stupid shit, and you'll see.
Within the government institution that I think that we could talk about. The first would be our domestic intel agencies, the coup they had on Donald Trump, the lies that they constantly told about Russiagate, the lies that they told about rioting that occurred all through the summer of 2020, and a bunch of situations like that. The second would be our foreign intel agencies and our foreign policy experts. They lied to us about Afghanistan. They lied to us about Iraq.
Which is true. I mean, the American government is really good at lying to its people about just about everything.
Lied to us about foreign war after foreign war, including Libya, and they've proven that they're not to be trusted. The third would be COVID. I think I'm allowed to say that now that I'm on Comfy. Am I right?
No,
Andrew?
we're still streaming to YouTube right now.
Okay. Oh shit. Okay. The third would be certain illnesses that came about that we were told that we weren't allowed to question things. Many of the things that were said to those, we were told, shut up and just trust the science. And we can see how that's been erroneous.
Trust the science when it comes to that, but not when it comes to
economic situations that we've
sex
had
and gender,
in this country.
right?
We can see how we were told by economic experts that certain things would be great for the people in this country. And we just had to trust them because we're not experts. And predictably, the non-experts like me were absolutely correct when we locked down and then had massive money printing that it harmed us so terribly. And the last would be climate change, things that we've been told over climate change where there is a consensus that we can't distrust anything.
All right. We're going to skip through the rest of his intro. We got that. He lays down an intro. We're going to go to Ben. Before we do that, chat, what do you think Ben brings up here? Huh? Do you think Ben has a rebuttal for any of this stuff? You think his rebuttal is going to be, actually, you should trust the government because the government comes from God and God is the authority. Do you think it's that? Think it's that?
Those were examples that
skip.
finally the age the fist disagree with trust. It sound as the sun
just go. So I think I love this, the fact that we're diametrically opposed. I don't think we really are, but we do have 2 different kind of frameworks for what.
There's Ben Thorp trying to build a middle ground, which doesn't work here.
We're talking about, and I've spent the last 3 weeks.
By the way, the volume balance is all over the place on this stream. Okay, the stream we're watching, it's horrible.
Of my life, which I would characterize as having blown up to some degree, interacting just by circumstance with folks I had no idea existed, folks who are nice people but who are totally immersed in conspiracy theories and cannot even watch any video without assuming that there's a double agent and a triple agent and something like this, right? I got myself onto a stream that's some part of the truth or world. I was immediately...
And there's loons out there that are pretty far deep in some conspiracies, maybe some particular ones, but that's not an example to prove. I don't look at them and think, oh, so what we need to do is get rid of ideas. Because that's essentially what Ben is going to get into here. His arguments could be, oh, we shouldn't think. We shouldn't really be allowed to think, actually. Thoughts are bad. Thoughts are real bad. And I'm not even exaggerating. That's exactly what he gets into here.
Characterized as a Fed, a CIA agent, IA agent, a member of the Hollywood elite, and everything else under the sun. This is a huge problem for our culture. It's a huge problem for the right wing. and it's a huge problem for the left wing. This is the failure of the Enlightenment experiment of everyone deciding.
Failure of the Enlightenment experiment. Did you catch that? He means that's his premise. His whole premise for this whole debate is that the reason why things are going the way they are, the reason why people are in debt, I guess, get immersed in conspiracy theories, and the reason why we have this distrust with the government, is because of the Enlightenment era, the Enlightenment movement. And yes, he's referencing like the time when people were like, wait, maybe the Catholic Church is full of shit. That time when they were. The time when the Catholic Church was very corrupt and offering tickets to heaven. I believe they're called indulgences or whatever. Yeah. Buy your way into heaven. Why not? Pay the money. Get the ticket. You got it. It's how can you look at that and not think it's corrupt? We're talking about the church that done many, many things to even like mess with someone like Galileo over just, his research, which is benign, looking at it now. But then it was like a big deal. Oh, no, we can't have that. It's like, no, like you need to question authority, especially if they act as if they got their power from God. Because they're human beings. They're people. They're capable of being as corrupted and flawed as anybody else. Just because they wear a silly hat and a robe and call themselves a priest or a pope doesn't make them any better. In fact, if anything, it makes their crimes worse. Like Ben Thorp wants us to go back to the Dark Ages. You understand that? He wants us to go back to like the Dark Ages or medieval times before the Enlightenment. So anything that spawned from that, a lot of things really, that we can't, is no good.
To get together and find out what they think might be real. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people tell me, you need to do research. You need to do a deep dive. I've gone on the deep dive, and I've run into people who are so out of touch with reality.
Only a little bit.
And this is a small percentage,
whole bear thing.
But that they've said the government has programmed their mind, that Hollywood movies are written by them, and that everyone...
You saying the government isn't programming minds? Propaganda now. Propaganda happening now. Information being fed to us from mainstream media, and they're getting that information from the CIA. Okay, like what are you talking about? Everything's very select. Like the information we get is very selected. Okay, when it comes from the main outlets, like CNN, MSNBC, things like that, it's there's a reason why they don't really go against the narrative, okay? There's a reason why. But then you can go even deeper and sinister things like MK Ultra. You could bring up that where the U.S. government, where the CIA literally was trying to brainwash people. There's that. I mean, Rob just brought up examples of like, so recent to me, where the government tried to program us into believing that we should just go to war with Afghanistan and Iraq over weapons of mass destruction, which weren't even there. That whole thing was a joke. Saddam should have just stayed. If Saddam had stayed, we wouldn't have to deal with the whole fucking ISIS shit, all that stuff. We created that instability over there. I don't give a shit if it was a ruthless dictator. That argument doesn't even hold up. China, they're a fucking ruthless dictator, fucking with a camps for the Uyghurs and all that shit. But we don't care about that because they make most of our shit. Okay, all right. So then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're a ruthless dictator. You see, our government, the U.S. government in particular, tries to program people into thinking certain ways and believing certain things, going along with certain ideas, especially when it comes to war. Because war is profitable, okay? Like right now. I mean, the U.S. is profiting off of the Ukraine war. Like, everything that's going on over there, the weapons, for the most part, who made them? Jesus Christ. America is profiting off it. The people aren't, but certain American companies are, and certain American politicians are. Ben, you need to wake up. You're fucking sheep.
One's acting out a script that they came up with. That's the extreme. Then it goes back to moon landings and 9/11 and all the rest. I don't know if I'm.
The moon landing one is weird. We need to watch some moon landing videos. We do. Because I still want to believe we landed on the moon. But there's some weird things about that whole thing. Clearly, we launched a rocket into space. Russia would have tracked that and maybe try to call us out if it didn't go there. But did we actually step foot on the moon? Oh, but they recorded it, Mr. Deadman. They have footage. Oh, but the footage burned up when they came back into space. So they had to reshoot in the studio. What's that? What's that? Any cup? How do you look at that and be like, oh, yeah, that's legit shit? I don't know. It's weird. We should watch some moon landing videos. We launched a rocket, but we didn't actually make the touchdown. That's what I think. That's what I think. That's what I think now. I didn't think that way a couple years ago. I actually was eating it all up. There's certain things about it. It's just strange. It's just really bizarre. The fact that we've never gone back and the excuses are so expensive. Really? It'd be more expensive now? Like, they were using 70s technology then. What are you talking about? Like 60s, 70s technology. Come on now. You think it would be easier? You think it would be so easy for, like, SpaceX to do moon tours? Do a moon tour. Anyway.
Allowed to say that, but all this stuff, but
I need to stop pausing because the reason why we're talking about this is to show how much Ben glows in the dark, and that hasn't happened yet. Okay, hold on.
There is a problem with a way of thinking that is overly suspicious. There's a place for suspicion, but I don't think Rob understands in the slightest the danger of only looking at the skepticism and only the negativity and staying in the goddamn echo chambers, only listening to people who agree already with what you're saying.
What? You got to stay out of those echo chambers, man. You got to be careful. You're going to be programmed by the right or by the left. You got to be careful.
It's a huge problem. We need to come together and have conversations, and we need, and here's my real blue pill, we need the church, right? If we're going to talk about institutions, we need what built Europe. What is it that's been undermined since the Enlightenment began? It's Christendom. And what
he wants the Catholic Church to be the number one power. He wants, like, Ben Thorp wants us to all reunite in under Catholicism, essentially. What the hell? On Benjamin Deep Dive with Deadman would be base. Doing conspiracy theory deep dives. Yeah, we'll probably do that. I mean, we're kind of going that way, aren't we? I mean, the next couple streams here, it could kind of be kind of like that on this channel. It's fitting.
What is Christendom founded on? It's founded on the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is not perfect. We all know that. It's never claimed to be perfect, but it's had an excellent track record.
See, man, here's my thing with Catholicism, okay? Like, some people, I don't like the idea that you have to go through a priest to understand the Word of God, that you have to really listen to a guy who claims that he can really understand God, like the Pope, is understand the Word of God better than anybody else. Okay, he was like chosen by God. He's not chosen by God. He's chosen by man. He's chosen by fucking people in robes. I don't buy into any of that shit.
Through the centuries of keeping us together in an insane place, and it needs to play that role again. Stop doing this research. Stop going online and trying to figure things out in your head. Stop
doing research, guys. Don't do research. Free thinking is dangerous. Thoughts are bad. That's Benjamin Thorp's position. Thoughts are bad. Thoughts are bad. That's the U.S. Protestant view of Catholicism. Well, that would make sense because, I mean, the church I went to was Protestant. I still go there every now and then. Kind of bad, but it is what it is. But yeah, I don't have to confess. You know, I don't have to do a whole confessional thing, all that stuff. I don't have to worship saints or worship the Virgin Mary. Okay, all right, all right. It's Jesus, it's God, and that's it. Or the Holy Trinity, I suppose. Yeah, the Holy Spirit. But that's it. That's it. I mean, it's like, it's bare basics, super easy, you know. But Ben doesn't even want that. All right. I want to skip to when he talks about the Second Amendment, when he brings that up. Hold on.
Papa, Father, right? It started with Luther.
See if we get that.
He says, but I talk to like the Q.
Follow ideas like Rob. We can all come up with our own little idea. Look at the moon landing through all these videos. I keep
basically non-denominational.
Let me get to where he brings up the Second Amendment stuff.
Morality, which I think is righteous, is right. So we don't blindly trust.
Blah,
Rob,
blah, blah.
Because it is by breaking Christendom, by breaking us into a million sects and now subsects of truthers and all these people, that they're able to ride, that the devil's able to ride roughshod over us, right? And pass all of the agendas which we used to oppose when we could act together against these things. That's all.
Now
He's not talking about the devil and stuff. He's like, oh, free thought is bad. Don't think for yourself. Don't research anything. But the devil, stick it over. I mean, there's some conspiracies on that. But Ben doesn't even want me to research that. Okay.
Listen, I just want everyone. I don't like to do this to sort of.
And I laugh at that because in this debate, Rob actually was to talk about like actual things that the government's doing as examples of why people have distrust with the government. And Ben Thorp keeps on bringing it back to like God and the devil and how Catholicism could save that. But the problem is that his current government, the U.S. government, isn't like a Catholic government and will never be one. Will never be one. It's just never going to happen.
Okay? Involved in it in this day. That may...
And even if it was, I mean, you have politicians that are Catholic that are pro-abortion. So, I mean, anyone who's like, oh, they just need to be like super Catholic with all that stuff and like traditional, it's like, okay, good luck on that. Let's talk about actual like reality. Okay.
May have worked for men back then in the American,
we get to a second,
let's say, thorough, a more vivacious, I don't know what to call it, a more full
okay, let's talk about this.
Framework.
Great, you're a good Catholic. You have a great understanding of Catholicism. You have a fuller vision of it. So we're talking about babies being murdered. That's against Catholic doctrine, right? So you're going to.
And what's the number one group opposed to abortions? Rob, you go out on the sidewalks.
No, it's Catholic women. I understand the need to interrupt because you understand this disproves your entire thesis. So
and Rob is not for abortions either, but what Rob is bringing that up is like, look, right now the current government right now. That you're saying to trust, Ben, you're saying that we need to trust the government and all what it says and does. And the current government is pro-baby killing. Okay. All right. And there's Catholics in that government. Nancy Pelosi claims to be Catholic.
funding
The
yourself.
question, Rob.
Then when you ask the question,
Where's the second?
that's
part?
where the real focus needs to be.
There are
And we'll
different-
call
there are
out people, the same institute.
Like
Now, ignoring
You
my
exert.
question and saying, if you say that you
It's before
I
the-
didn't hear that. Maybe you said it before, and I apologize.
It's
right
before the
now,
callers.
Say that
explain
before.
why we need to focus on telling people not to be skeptical of the government when you're admitting that they murder children in mass.
Okay, so your criticism of me is that I'm not spending my time in the abortion area sphere.
No, that's not my.
No, Ben, his criticism is saying that you want to just say, hey, we need to believe the government. We shouldn't be critical of the government, shouldn't doubt what they say, even though that they're, one, not the Catholic government you want them to be, and two, they murder in mass babies and all that stuff. Yeah.
Criticism. You don't
I
understand.
understand
what I'm
that.
saying is this. Right, I have to baby walk you through this stuff because you're not
Night.
on my face. You don't have to worry about
promotion.
my feelings.
Okay,
I'm looking for it,
but
looking
Rob,
for it.
you would admit, okay, just like you won't have to go there. You would admit that there is a certain, let's say, rabbit hole. You know about these rabbit holes that someone could get into. At the very end of that rabbit hole, you would have a mental illness called what?
We have to
might
accept their
passed it.
paranoia, right?
Okay, but there was
We have to
Might
accept.
passed
theory
it.
and
Let's
broadcast
see.
it on
Finish,
that they're a
please.
white
Let me finish.
supremacist country.
What is the premise behind that, right? So would the premise be the over? Because you wouldn't say you're not.
Right.
Just
Well, it
listen
is.
to-
That would be
Who
part of it.
decides?
Later. I'm asking you a very specific question. Like you're saying, certain theories shouldn't be allowed to be discussed. Can you fucking tell me what those theories are?
Oh, this is part of it. This is part of it. So certain theories should not be discussed. So Ben Thorp is actually pro censorship. Okay, Ben Thorp is actually pro like you shouldn't be allowed to talk about certain things.
Be like that,
Yeah, well, I mean, you
like
would
our
say,
government.
okay, I agree. There are people on the left who say this. I agree with you.
No.
I
Why
believe-
do you keep conflating that? It's not. It's not saying I have a distrust of the government. Isn't saying well the government's left and I'm right. It's not what I'm saying. That's right.
Well, I think
I'm
that is
saying that,
your
for example,
basic take.
it is the official statement of the government, of the people that are in charge right now in the Biden administration, along with many people in these other institutions like the media. If you say, I don't think we should give billions of dollars to the Ukraine, they say, oh, you're an ally of Vladimir Putin. Now, that's exactly the sort of paranoia you're talking about.
Sure.
Officially the stance of our government.
Sure,
But
I
we can't
understand.
criticize that. We have to accept their paranoia, right?
Okay, but there was paranoia when the right controlled the government, right? The McCarthy era and all this stuff.
Again, you are conflating left and right. I'm not saying that.
He's conflating because he doesn't want to answer that question. He doesn't want to. He doesn't answer any questions. He just deflects.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think there's paranoid people who think every time a police officer stops them that they're about to get murdered. I'm just saying
True.
it's left and right. I think it's super unhealthy.
Right.
I don't think the
debate
media
isn't
and
left and
I don't think the media should have free reign to take this theory and broadcast it on mainstream TV. It's really, really dangerous. You can call me a bootlicker, but I don't envy police their job.
What theory? What theory?
The theory that police officers wake up in the morning to kill people who look a certain way. That's a really dangerous theory.
Okay, let's go. So if that's what you're saying, that there are certain theories that should
And on that one, Benjamin gets a little point there because that's true. The media shouldn't be putting out that hyperbolic, not even grounded in reality lie out there. You know?
should not be allowed because it could
Yes.
potentially go. So what's the limit? A theory that is not proven that could cause harm to people shouldn't be allowed to be discussed in public, like in the media, on social media?
Well, wouldn't you say that theory should not be promulgated by the mainstream media?
Again, you're going back to the specific of the theory that all cops want to kill all people.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
right.
talking you. What is the premise
White
behind
supremacy? You're not familiar with
Please,
that
let me
theory?
finish,
That they're a
please,
white
let me finish.
supremacist country?
What is
So Rob was wanting to talk about the concept, or I guess the principle behind that. And the danger here, if you go, okay, Ben Thorp is right, and the media shouldn't be doing that. They're like, okay, well then who's going to stop the media from doing that? And based on what exactly? You know, it's like, well, I mean, we've seen that if you talk about certain things related to the vax or COVID or other alternate treatments, that is not allowed, and that stuff gets squashed, right? But if you talk about other, I guess, gets other things that are not true, but it kind of go along with the narrative, the mainstream narrative, then it's allowed.
The premise behind that, right? So would the premise be because you wouldn't say, you're not saying that's the only theory we can't talk about. All else are good, right? You're not saying that, right?
Rob really should have said, you know what? No, man. It's not the right and the left. Yeah, it's right and the left both have like their conspiracies, sure. But the left gets free reign and gets to promote that shit.
No.
Okay.
Right, there are
So then
certain
we have to
theories
say,
that are
what
really
is it
destructive.
about that? Please. So then you're saying, then we have to come up with, well, what is it about that theory that means that and other theories that also meet this criteria should not be allowed to discuss?
I
So
understand.
I'm throwing out, let me finish. I'm asking you, is what you're saying that any theory that we can't definitively prove that by nature of people believing it could lead to people engaging in physical violence, are you saying that all theories such as that should not be allowed to be discussed in public?
Rob, I understand what you're saying. You're saying who decides, right? This is the question. Who decides?
That's not
Who
the
decides?
question.
Well, it
Specific-
is.
That would be
Who
part of
decides?
it. I'm asking you a very specific question. Like, you're saying
But-
certain theories shouldn't be allowed to be discussed. Can you fucking tell me what those theories are?
Just answer the question, Ben.
Well, can I finish? I was saying this thing about paranoia. We'll
It's yes or no. Oh my God.
get back to that, Rob. We'll get back to that.
We don't.
Paranoia
they
is
don't
on
get
the
back to
one
that.
hand,
They
right?
never get back to that.
If you're too trusting,
This is one of the
other
most worthless debates I've ever done. You
It is a worthless debate. It is a worthless
are
debate.
so fucking wretched. You're
But a
just
lot of
bad.
internet debates are worthless.
hand. I do. A lot of people say that about.
Let's
me.
get to the Second Amendment. Let's see if we find that.
So bad that they should not be allowed to be discussed in the media
I
or in
am
public.
saying that.
I'm asking you, what the fuck is the
This is-
criteria? What are those things? I said, are you saying
What are the things that we should not be allowed to discuss, Ben? Hey, Mr. Thorpe, what are the things we should not be allowed to discuss? Oh,
anything that we can't prove is true that could lead to physical harm? And then you're like, I don't understand. What are you talking? I want to go on to something different. This is the crux of the debate. Can you
Wait
tell
a
me
second.
and
Can
the
I respond
audience
to
and
that?
Andrew,
Can I
please let me
respond to
finish
that?
real quick.
Whoa,
Let me
you're going to
finish
go on
real
to
quick.
something else?
Let me
All right,
finish
let him
real
finish
quick.
his thought, man. Jeez, calm
just
down.
Can
thought
you
at a
tell
time.
me,
Relax.
Andrew, and the audience, as the person who's saying that certain things should never be allowed to be said, can you tell me what those things are?
Sure. I think obscenity should be illegal. I think that pornography.
obscenity. So, I guess, like, what do you... Like, you can't say fuck, can't say bitch, can't say cunt.
Should be illegal, and I think
He does say pornography. A lot of you guys would probably agree that pornography should be illegal. But does Ben actually think pornography should be illegal? Ben eats his own cum, and he knows more about incest porn than anyone should ever know. Okay? He's the one who brings that stuff up. Oh, my God.
blasphemy should be illegal. of
Blasphemy
all
should be
religions.
illegal. Right? Okay.
That's an example.
That's it. So,
And
okay,
all of
But what's the punishment? So let's say you say "God damn it." What happens? What's the punishment for saying "God damn it"? God damn it!
those
So when
and
you
all
said-
of those laws are on the books right now. Those
okay.
are all
So when
illegal.
so which one of those does cops want to hurt people fit in?
It doesn't fit into any of those three. You asked me
Okay,
for one
so then you
example. I gave you
deflected from
three
the fucking
examples.
question. No, I want a holistic. We're talking specifically on one specific theory, and I said, "What is your justification for theories like that shouldn't be allowed to be discussed?" You can't give it. You don't
Okay,
know.
sure.
And
I
so
can
you
give
then
it to
say,
you.
"Well, you."
His justification is gonna be the Bible. It's gonna be God. Okay, all right. And you could be all God fearing and all that stuff, but I mean, how far do you want to go? How far do you want to go with that? I mean, even defaming or not defaming, blasphemy. Oh man, shit. So Ben Thorpe wants to bring back. Ben Thorpe wants to bring back being stoned to death. If you're like, I don't know, speak out against God. Oh shit.
shouldn't
I
be
can
allowed
give
to
it
be
to you.
seen.
No, Rob, shut.
That's what I'm asking for.
Shut it. Shut it. Now I'm going to answer that question. You said, "What's the criteria overall?" Because you're
Maybe Ben thought Lot's story, Lot and his daughters, was actually like something that God was promoting. I didn't read the whole Bible, but I'm sure there's some passages there where God is not cool with incest. You know, I know incest is referenced quite a bit in the Bible, but I don't think God is cool with it. I think Lot was the one degenerate that got away, and that was the message of that story, is that even though Lot was spared because he ran away with his daughters, there's still a lot of sin with him and his family. Now, when is he going to talk about the Second Amendment?
You're doing two things at once. You're saying, give me specifics. I gave you not one, but three specifics. And then you say, what's the criteria? I'll tell you what the criteria is. The criteria is the inheritance of Christianity, which has a natural law tradition, and then is worked out in law, right? And we get together.
Not just any Christianity, Catholicism. He wants Catholicism as the only religion. Okay, good luck on that.
And obviously, the Catholic Church isn't going to rule on whether.
Good luck on that when even the Catholic Church is freaking weak on this stuff. Come on, man. Like, I would understand Ben's argument better if like the Catholic Church was actually like strong against like, I guess. If they had a clear stance against like immigration and shit like that. I mean, they seem to be pro. They seem to be pro just open borders and all this, except for them, I don't know. It seems crazy. It's good luck with that.
A cop can do this or that or needs this or that, is stopping.
Ben wants to bring back the Holy Crusades, is what he wants. The Holy Wars. The Holy Wars.
Frisk illegal, is profiling in an airport illegal. We work it out as people in a conversation, but this framework gives us a conversation. Right. So, like, for example, blasphemy is illegal because it's first of all, it's against the framework that you and I both come from, the Western civilization, but it's also disrespectful of people's religions. So that's your answer to the criteria. Rob, life is a little bit complicated, right? When you have to make decisions as the authority in your house about what we're going to do with your 2-year-old, you sit there screaming at your wife that you need a criteria. You figure it out based on principles that you adhere to, such as that we shouldn't put our needs in front of our son's needs, such as that God has given us some commands to follow, such as the rich.
That's rich coming from a man who's kicked out of his own home. His marriage has failed.
Biblical truth. Answer to your question.
He's totally deflecting and trolling.
Let's see if we get to the Second Amendment thing. I think we passed it up.
More powerful, and they're actually more responsible. So they have the power to do things to you, and they're more responsible for spreading the exact same type of disinformation that gets people hurt that Ben seems to be criticizing, such as Russiagate, such as the foreign intel agencies, if we looked at their lies about Afghanistan.
So remember, the debate is actually about distrust in the government and isn't really about religion or anything like that. But Ben was derailing the whole thing. It's like, I guess in his mind, he really does believe that the reason why there's distrust in the government and all these conspiracy theories is because we all need to be Catholic, and that would change everything. Well, good luck. Good, dude, that's not even realistic.
Iraq and places like that, such as disease that came along that resulted in things like lockdowns that we were lied to about corruptly, and that there was hypocrisy about in people in positions of our leadership.
Lied to by Catholics, too. Politicians that claim to be Catholics spread those lies.
That led to people losing their small businesses, losing family members.
Do a lot of research and things like that. As I understand it, are good things. I agree with him about a lot of this skepticism. And he doesn't realize that the frame where they're too trusting of their parents. Now, Rob is basically...
I know that people in the Crucible audience will know that. I mean, he certainly would lead to a tyranny that would be a wet dream for someone like Hitler or Mao, because they would be sitting there cheering brown shirt Ben on, saying, yes, this man is exactly right. You have daddy issues if you criticize the horrible anti-Christian things we're doing, if you criticize the horrible tyrannical things you're doing, if you're upset that you lost your business because...
I think I missed a good part where he pretty much Ben brings up ideas, how ideas lead to... Well, we'll see. if this is the part I think it is, it should be the part where Ben suggests that ideas are bad and that we should stop ideas, because if it wasn't for ideas, there wouldn't be communism and there wouldn't be Nazis. Which, I mean, I get in a simplistic way of thinking about it. I mean, communism is an idea, fascism is an idea, but it's like how a certain group that had that idea, that had that ideology, took power and then crushed the opposing ideology culturally and by force to make sure that theirs is the one that reigns supreme. Let's back up a little bit, see if we get that.
Bob wouldn't answer. I was trying to be a little, philosophical. There's one place where it leads to paranoia. There is such a thing as being gullible, right? There is such a thing as being too trusting, but that's a much better problem to have. It's the problem that children have, where they're too trusting of their parents. Now,
Ben wants us to be very trusting of the government. Very trusting.
Bob has basically made his career out of bitching to young men about how their daddy, the government, has betrayed them. He should get out of this cycle and get out of his daddy issues, work them out, and have a fruitful conversation with people in power, with those young men who are listening to him, and say, okay, we want to participate. Not red pilling them on that stupid conspiracy theory, which is going to leave these young men, not you, because you have this framework, lead these young men into a frightfully dangerous position. Now, I'm not saying you're doing that, but you're pushing it in that direction. You have to see this, Robert. I'm calling you as a fellow Christian to pull back on this and help me in my blue pill crusade against paranoia.
Ben is a fake Christian. He would be right.
Oh, that's true.
There cheering on Mao's China and people that wanted to rise up against the human rights abuses, saying, "How dare you criticize?"
I think they're repping. I don't think they passed up the Second Amendment part.
I mean, he certainly would lead to a
way further to the right, and they need something robust. I don't know how read you are in history, right? Was the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church forbade usury, right? This is where you get this whole Jewish banker routine.
That Catholic Church?
Oh,
yeah, the Catholic Church that
indulgences, right? That's they didn't
had and has a theory of indulgences. I don't want to get into it, Rob, because I think we're wrapping up. Is that right, Andrew? There's a theory of indulgences. There have been abuses. I've been in.
But we can't call them out. We couldn't. That would be enlightenment to call them out.
That's true. You couldn't call them out. That would be enlightenment. You couldn't have any sort of reform or anything because it require you to call out on your daddy and question him. And Ben wants you to just listen to your daddy and do what he says. It's kind of like G-Man says, read the Bible and do what it says. Ben Thorp is listen to your daddy, listen to your papa, and do what he says.
No, that's your straw man again, Rob.
What are you talking about? Listen, I'll just say this. Ben's position here seems to be this. Geez.
It must be somewhere in between this because someone comes on now and someone's about to come on. I want to see if I can find it. It's juicy. It's like he's trying to bait Rob into giving him an answer.
Go too far, Rob?
Of course. Right, but the question
is... What happens?
What
happens to say things that the right is kept from saying. But it is people on the right, like you, who are good people, who are opening doors which shouldn't be opened on the right. And there are similar liberals.
Oh, there's doors we can't open. Oh, what doors can we not open, guys?
The left.
Give me an example. Give me an example of the door I've opened.
If you start questioning basic narratives, well, let's take the moon landing. I don't know. I don't know really your material, but you want to question, let's say, what happened in the last election. I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
We're not getting into that. No.
Okay.
No, we're not talking about that. How about this? Right?
You tell me something you're doing.
Sure. All right. How about Russiagate?
That's why he's very glowy. You tell me something you're talking about. You tell me something, Rob, that you're talking about that's very taboo, that they wouldn't like you to talk about, that's opening doors to rabbit holes.
Yeah, and I've heard people say that Vladimir Putin is a double agent and that when you start questioning things, and I'm not saying you shouldn't question them. I think a mature person like you who has read history, who's studied this stuff, can question some things. But you open a certain door where you say, oh, no, wait, Putin's working for the this, who's working for the this, and it's all a psyop. Don't you recognize? Haven't you found people in your groups who go too far, Rob?
Of course, right? But the question
and what
is,
happens?
Right,
what happens
please,
mentally when
let me
they
finish.
do that?
To say, but this is the fundamental disagreement we're having, right? The idea is, should ideologically at our core, should we take your position, which is if someone is an authority figure, the default is trust them, or should we take my opinion, which is if there's an authority figure in what we've seen right now, the default should be to be distrusting of them, force them to prove what they're saying.
Okay, let me give you another example of this. I spent a lot of my, as you can imagine, teenage years protesting that my dad was not trustworthy. Okay, in a lot of families, this is what happens. I believe that young people should trust their fathers, wives should trust their husbands, and that this is a kind of, that I understand. I'm not making the advocate I'm not advocating that men are perfect, but they're a better bet than when you're 12 years old coming up with all of your own theories. The Enlightenment is more or less a rebellion against the father, because who is the Pope? What does Pope mean? Do you know what the word Pope means? Papa, father, right?
See, it's the mommy daddy stuff. It's all Ben Thorp has.
It started with Luther, then it went to the Enlightenment.
Another example of people taking your prescription that we trust this perceived authority figure, except they're just doing it on the opposite side. They're saying, oh, instead of trusting the government, we trust what we perceive as an authority figure on the other side. My argument to those people was always, you should be doing actions yourself, right? You should never, any human being, there is no human being on this earth that you should put complete faith in and just say, I'll trust them. They'll do the right thing.
That is true. That is absolutely true right there.
Right, okay, this is what I keep hearing over and over again. This is the Enlightenment thing. You're not going to trust anyone or anything unless you've done the research yourself. That's what you're sort of articulating. You have to personally do the research. But how are you going to do the research? You're going to get it from other authorities, right? That's how it happens. You're going to read the Bible through whatever lens you've looked at. You're going to look at the moon landing through all these videos.
Man, a very simplistic view of this. You got to trust some sort of authority. Like, you could trust like an expert on something who's very knowledgeable on a subject, especially if they bring studies or bring something to the table there, maybe a book they have that seems well put together. They have their sources cited. Okay. Or you could believe someone who's just an authority figure that says, I command this because I am the science. Or I command this because I'm God. I mean, we recently just had a situation with the pandemic, scamdemic, where Dr. Fauci was essentially being God of science. Just listen to him and do what he says, right?
People keep telling me, you got to read this book, you got to watch this video. It comes down to you have to trust someone, right, Rob? You have to trust someone.
Yeah, we all have some level of trust that we have to have. I'm not saying that. I'm not complete.
Do you think there's a lack of trust in our society?
Let me finish, right? What I'm saying is this. When someone, like, for example, because you don't want to talk about the specifics. I get it. So, like, when you talk about parents, you think that a son should trust his father. Well, maybe that's the...
Oh, Rob brings up something that Ben would fully disagree with. Hold on.
Default. But what if your father's an abusive alcoholic drug addict that continually...
I'll stop you right there, Rob. I already know Ben's response. It's all on the mother's fault there. It is the mother's fault that the dad is an abusive drug addict, alcoholic.
He beats your mom, takes all the money, and leaves you high and dry. Should you trust them the 30th time, the 31st time, the 32nd? At what point do you say, geez, I keep leaving him at home with all of my money and he takes it and gets drugs and beats mom, but I'll trust him again tomorrow.
Okay, Rob,
at some point you would say that trust has to be earned. And when it is shown over and over that institution or that person in this situation, that you're saying that we...
Kind of how I feel about the U.S. government. Just in my time, I don't have to bring up weird false flag operations that happened before my time. You know, I could just bring up 9/11 in Iraq. That whole freaking lie there.
Need to have trust of when it showed that they're not worthy of that trust. I think that healthy skepticism is what's warranted in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, you're portraying me as saying absolute trust in every authority under any circumstance. You can do that all this debate. There's nothing I can do to stop you from doing that. But you know that's not what I'm saying. But yes, I am saying your inclination should be to trust. You also made a claim that there's no such thing as infallible authority. Well, as a Catholic, there is such a claim. It doesn't mean
I'm
everything
not
the Pope
Catholic.
said. Okay, but right, this is a problem.
Oh, you're not
arresting-
saying as a Catholic. I see what you're saying. I'm sorry.
What are
Yep,
you? So
yep.
you believe?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would be inclined to tell others, like I don't know what your family situation is.
It's good.
The other day telling me 8,000 theories about the Bible that you say
Good, it's
that,
good.
right? Or there you don't see the
No.
link between Hitler abandoning his Catholic faith and chasing this kind of pagan nonsense that he was making
Look,
up, the
there
racial
is-
theories. You don't think there's a
when
connection
it comes to morality, it is true that the easiest way to have a code of morality, which I think is righteous, is through the Christian Bible. I agree with that. I think there are possibilities to get there, not necessarily through the Christian Bible, through other religions, or even through, but it's very difficult, right? And that's the
look
problem.
at how those other religions, the
Please, let me
non-Abrahamic
finish.
religions,
Please,
how
please,
are
let
they
me,
doing?
please let me finish, right? But what I'm saying is, right, when we're using it, you're speaking on these platitudes.
I'll take Ben on that. I mean, like this very heavily, very strict Islamic nations. How are they doing? Culturally, they are very homogenous. They are doing very well there. They're doing really well there. Is that what Ben wants? We all become Catholic, and then we can do all sorts of things. Start persecuting gays and all that stuff. Is that what Ben wants? Is that what he wants? Some of you guys might say based on that. I don't know.
Again, of religion, right? When it's not going to help you when the topic is specifically whether or not we should trust these institutions that are not being ran as Catholic. You can't, right? You keep saying, oh, you're saying I just need to blindly trust religion. I thought I still manned your position.
Stop saying that. I'm not
I
saying that.
just said,
As a psyop of the devil.
not talking
Because,
about the
Rob,
enlightenment
look
anymore.
what happens
I'm
at
not
the end of
talking
it.
about-
Look at
I'm
what
not- But I just want to summarize the way the rest of this debate's going to go.
Where's the
I'll
Second
show
Amendment
some
part?
people.
I think
No
it's done.
anti.
This has to be the foundation of a government. And you think that's a good foundation of a government?
Oh, here it is. Here
Yes,
it is. Right,
this
right
has
here.
to. The
I think-
people will rise up. Okay, so that was
Okay, this is where he's very glowy. For Ben Thorp is very, very glowy here in this debate.
the fundamental premise of the Second Amendment. It wasn't about making sure people could hunt. It wasn't about making sure you could protect yourself. What was it, Rob? What was the
It was
foundation?
about keeping us safe from government tyranny.
Keeping us safe so that we could rise up when the time comes. And honestly, guys, I can't answer that anymore.
Government tyranny, right? Okay, so that was the foundation of that. And the premise of it was if the government gets too tyrannical, the people will rise up with their guns and overthrow the government. Is that correct?
It was to prevent that situation from needing to occur, but yes, that would be
Well,
the
no,
end
but
result.
that's what they claimed occurred in the American Revolution, right? So they had
Correct.
to. This has to be the foundation of a government. And you think that's a good foundation of a government?
Yes, absolutely.
You do?
That is a great foundation of any government. What? Being the First and Second Amendment? The Second Amendment is to protect the First Amendment. When that fails,
So who
Yes.
is it that determines when it's time to take up arms?
the people.
The fact
people.
that the ability to have free speech and to have the ability to defend yourself,
The people,
including
the common people do. The plebs do. When they are all tired of this stupid shit, they do. Okay?
against
We're
government
talking about the
tyranny,
Second
makes
Amendment,
it-
not the First Amendment.
Please, right. But I'm talking about they all work
Who
together.
determines
Please.
when you have a violent revolution? Who determines it, Rob?
If I answer, are you gonna let me go more than 5?
Glowy. Is he trying to get Rob to say I do or something?
Words before you start yelling the same
You
question
just
again?
went in a huge speech.
Right, but I was making points. I wasn't interrupting
Oh,
you
okay. So
after
your
I asked
points
you a
are points
question.
and my points aren't points. Okay, that's
No,
fair.
you ask a question, you leave someone respond. I got 5
Rob,
words
answer the
in.
question. Answer the question.
Okay, I'm
Who
going to
determines
try
it?
to answer
that
the question.
not another question.
One, the ability to have that makes it less likely that you have to use it. Second, it's not an individual thing. It's a tipping point. When a threshold is reached, that there is a tipping point where people say this tyranny is too much. That's what determines it, not any one specific
Who?
person.
I didn't say what. I said who. Who determines when
I
it's time?
just
The people. Ben Thorp doesn't get that. The people do. The people. The people.
Stop
answered.
following the rules.
I said it's
Who?
not. It is a cultural
You?
tipping point.
You?
No. Who
You're going to
determines?
call for
Again,
arms?
again,
Let him. Hang on. You got to let him finish, Ben.
Again, this is just trolling, right? Like, again, I've answered the question. It's not that there's a specific person. For example, you could see the actual real world situation that occurred. Who determined that it was time to have a call to arms against the tyrannical British government? Well, it was a bunch of people that were the founding fathers, right? And it was over great deliberation. And after many attempts and other things were made before.
Yeah, and not everyone was on board with it. There was plenty of people that were wanting to just stay. We have some VC clips where Ben actually says that we probably should just like actually reunite with England and all that stuff, that we shouldn't have I guess, rebelled. So he's not even American. If you have those sort of thoughts as an American, you're not even American, okay?
Violence was necessary, but the violence and tyranny against them became too strong. Now, the counter question I'll ask you then is, you think that the ideal government would be one that would say that there is no right to defend yourself against government tyranny, and there is no right to free speech, because both of those are values of the Enlightenment. And so if you end up with a tyrannical government, you should not be allowed to defend yourself against it, correct?
Okay, that's a good question. I just want to say something, Rob. Your entire career is telling people that they're living under a tyrannical government. Are you going to call them to arms?
Very glowy. That was the whole point of getting into this this little show and tell part. Wow, that took a long time to find that little clip there. Very glowy. I don't know if you caught that. He just said, Rob, your whole entire internet career is telling people they're living under a tyrannical, or living under, I guess, a tyrannical government. So, are you trying to say it's time for them to rise? Like, what has Ben doing here? Is he a paid operative? Is he a plant? Is that the plan? Is he paid by the CIA somehow? I mean, what does he do? What's his income? Guys, we need to do a deep dive on this. A real deep dive. That's the real internet mystery. It goes deeper than Ethiopians. Grow a channel of a family drama? It's probably real, is real, but played up. And then to do these little debates and try to call people out and try to like be super glowy and bait them to make stupid answers. Or is Ben Thorp just an idiot? A bumbling idiot? Anyway, Shaggy's coping. Well, I'm about to wrap this up because I do have to deliver some coffees tomorrow. I have a lot of coffees. I need to do that. Anyway, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out. It was great. We learned a lot this stream. Y'all take it easy, man. Y'all take it easy.